Do letter grades kill engagement? First of all, what is engagement? No, I don't mean Danae, Sophie, Delsa Rose, and Janessa. Let me rephrase. What is student engagement? It turns out student engagement is hard to define. This is due in part to there being several types or categories of engagement. Academic, cognitive, intellectual, institutional, emotional, behavioral, social, and psychological, and that's just to name a few. According to researchers from the University of Alberta's Student Engagement Studies, Jim Parsons and Leah Taylor, the jury is still out on whether a learner needs to be functioning in all arenas of engagement for successful learning to take place. For example, do students need to feel a sense of belonging to achieve high grades? Or do students need to be academically successful to feel positive about attending school? Or is the social element enough as long as they are behaving and passing? Things are starting to get a little bit murky. Behavioral engagement can be anything from behaving in class, sitting there quietly, but not learning. Let's be serious, we've all been there. Or having 0 absences and lates, to showing personal initiative and intrinsic motivation to improve school culture, like practicing really hard for soccer so that your team can win provincials. How do we measure something so personal and diverse and straight up complicated? Historically, student engagement focused on behaviors and quantitative data. Attendance, standardized test scores, truancy, or graduation rates. These quantitative measurements track achievement outcomes and not engagement or interest and enjoyment in learning. Recent research has shifted, asking students and teachers how they would measure engagement. This has resulted in demand for qualitative research and changing definitions of engagement in learning. These changes have flipped our measurables, linking student engagement to learning instead of achievement. Keeping in mind that engagement is the process of learning, how do letter grades affect engagement? Controversial leading voice in education, Alfie Kohn, states that focusing on grades puts how well students are doing ahead of what they are doing. An ever-growing body of research indicates that focusing on grades undermines student interest in learning, makes failure seem overwhelming, leads students to avoid challenge, reduces quality of learning, and invites students to think about how smart they are instead of how hard they tried. When students are constantly encouraged to consider how well they are doing, opposed to what they are doing, they're most likely.
So when we give kids A's for doing their homework and reading, or worse, pay them for A's, which is a reward for a reward, these kids become demonstrably less interested in the learning itself, because now the whole point is just to get the reward.
If student engagement is, in fact, a product of the process of learning, then it is my opinion probable, as many researchers indicate, rewarding grades for academic achievement is not conducive to producing engaged learners. By fixating on letter grades, we, as educators, are neglecting what the students are doing, thus disregarding opportunities for engagement in the process of learning. If our main focus is on achievement, represented by letter grades, much of the process of learning we now understand as engagement is devalued. Therefore, focusing on letter grades may, in fact, be killing student engagement.